Oh, can you hit the drop down by the microphone? The arrow up. So we can change the audio input. Yeah.
This one?
Yeah. Can you guys hear us okay?
Great. That was a thumbs up.
Good morning, all. I'm calling to order the May 15th, 2023, 9:80 meeting. And I would, why don't we take a roll call as to establish a quorum. Adam Dorn,
Present.
Mike Elder,
Present.
Bill Topol,
Present.
Scott Tim,
Present.
Hans Rufenacht.
Present.
Okay. Additionally, in the room, we have Sheriff John Motz, my assistants Tori Kinderman and Melanie Bolter. We also have Captain Todd Christie. And as I said, we're here to call the 9:80 meeting to order. Okay, we've established a quorum. Now I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
The item is basically going to be an update regarding Rafe Pollock and placement options. Mike, can you tell us where things stand on your end?
We are working on getting the building permit right now for the units on County Road Y, and hopefully we will be starting in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. And do we have, and I know it's very hard to estimate, but do we have an idea as to?
We don't have a schedule from the contractor yet.
Okay.
He's still firming up subcontractors and everything on his side.
But it's going to be a small residence, so
Oh,
it
yes.
shouldn't take a lot to put up,
No, shouldn't take a lot.
assuming the materials are available.
Right.
Okay. Now, as you all know, Angie Serwa with the state has left, and now Scott Tim is taking over for her. We welcome you, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we had reached out to Scott to see if we could get an updated list regarding landlords who agreed to house 980 offenders on supervised release. And Scott was kind enough to send us an update actually today, which you said, Scott, doesn't look a lot different than the list back in February of, what was it, 23?
2023. Yeah, I sent it on to another county that I was working with. And so I reviewed it today and realized the list has not changed at all. And it probably hasn't changed a lot since your 2022 list. We have not had a lot of involvement with landlords or other people being interested in being added to the list. I actually think we had removed a couple that are no longer interested.
Okay,
So.
well, we will, again, continue to try to reach out to people to try to get some answers. The other thing, we had also reached out to Alejandro Lockwood per the court order, because he was going to be basically providing us a list of other counties that have placed offenders outside of their county of residence for a temporary stay. And we have not heard back from him, but again, we're reaching out to him just to see, because we want to explore all options. Scott, I don't know if you knew, probably Angie gave you an update. Winnebago County Board of Supervisors voted to spend more than $1 million to try to put up some housing. And so we're in the process. We had to go through the city, even though it was county-owned land, but it's within the jurisdiction of the city. So we had to go through a number of meetings, and that has happened. So again, as you heard from Mike Elder, who is the Director of Facilities for Winnebago County, things are moving along, and hopefully we will be able to, get a building permit within the next couple of weeks. So there's that. I have Sheriff Montz here too, because again, we currently have a trailer in Winnebago County. And one of the residents has had absolutely no issues. And my understanding is he's been there nearly 3 years. And so the question is, why is he still there? Were there issues we weren't aware of? Sheriff, have there been any problems?
None. We haven't had, we've had zero problems with him since he arrived. And like you said, I think August or September, it will be 3 years.
Mhm.
He's been at the residence.
Yeah.
He does have a full-time job, does have the ability to pay rent, et cetera. I have no idea about his counseling and where he's at with that, but
Mhm.
from a law enforcement perspective, we have no issues.
I know that my assistants had reached out to the local DA to see if there could be consideration of possible discharge of that person who's not had any issues, not just recently, but over the almost 3 years. The DA said he had been in contact with the special prosecutor. Scott, you probably are aware that Winnebago County DA does not handle the 980s directly. They contract out with a prosecutor up in Green Bay. And apparently that prosecutor told the district attorney he would look into it, but our district attorney has not heard anything since from him. So we need to, again, sort of shake that tree to see where things are, given the fact that this guy has been there for almost 3 years without any issues. What is the average length of stay for a supervised release person? I thought it was like 2. I mean, what in your experience? And I know it has to be a generality.
Yeah, well, it used to be anywhere from 3.5 to 4.5 years. But we have seen more and more stipulated agreements out of the prosecution between the prosecutor and the defense attorneys. And so we've seen a lot of those stipulated agreements being less than that, sometimes 2 years on average, sometimes 3, but it seems to be more and more that they're a 2-year stipulated agreement. But then it still requires the individual, the client and his attorney, to petition the court for that discharge to be reviewed. So it's not something that the prosecutor can do. It has to come through from the individual client and his attorney.
Scott, in your experience, when there has been a stipulation, have you seen a situation where the 980 and his attorney decided to petition a little bit earlier than what was stipulated?
I have not experienced that, no,
Okay.
because typically based on what is written in the stipulated order, it requires them to stay on for that period of time. Yeah, it's something the prosecutor, I would assume, would have to agree to, because they're the ones that typically write when the stipulation, and then a lot of the stipulated agreements that I've seen indicate in there that if the client petitions early, then that the court is automatically to deny the petition.
Oh, even if the prosecutor agrees?
Well, I'm just saying some of the language that I've seen in those stipulated agreements typically say that. I would assume that the prosecutor that authored the stipulated agreement, if they agree with, if they come to some sort of agreement with the defense attorney, I would assume that they could make some alterations to that stipulated agreement. I just don't have a lot of experience with it.
Okay, thank you. All right. And then the other thing, so again, we are pursuing all of these avenues. We have a hearing in front of Judge Jorgensen scheduled for June 20th. I'm not sure what time is it. Melanie, do you know what time it is? Hold on one sec. We'll get you the time.
June 20th, 9 o'clock,
9 a.m.
branch 5.
Okay. And it's a status conference. So, Adam, do you have anything that we need to talk about?
No.
Okay, and Mike, you've already
Yeah.
given an update. Bill?
I was just curious, if anybody knows, are there other folks petitioning, or what's the status of that? I've seen or heard occasionally, and usually I'm the Scott, right?
Scott Tim, yeah.
Scott, I'm the Director for Human Services for the county, and typically notices are supposed to come to me because I'm basically the head of the 5142,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that old ruling is, and I haven't actually gotten petitions or information sent to me on a timely basis in the past. So I don't know who takes care of that. Like if somebody's petitioning to come out or whatever, I'm supposed to get a copy of those things. Do you know who's supposed to be doing that on your end at DHS?
So I can double check. Typically, from my understanding, it comes from the Sandridge Records Department. They're the ones that send in the paperwork on behalf of the clients from the institution. So I can double check on, the timeliness as to and where those go. I don't know if I would assume that the records department would be sending notifications to the 5142 board as well. That wouldn't go through the courts. But I can double check on that.
Yeah, because I don't know if there's anything pending or coming up, because I haven't seen anything in several years actually coming through the mail to me. Usually Mary Ann tells me, did you hear that so-and-so is petitioning to get out, or is in sort of a different status? And I haven't heard. So if you check on that and just make sure.
I can absolutely check to just verify whether or not when a client petitions for supervised release or for discharge, I would assume that, because it's a status change, doesn't, that even if they petition for discharge out of the institution, then, there's a potential of that individual coming back to Winnebago County. They wouldn't have to in that circumstance, but, typically there's family or friends or that they've developed in the county of residence. So a lot of guys do return to their county of residence. So let me check on that and just verify how that petition, when the client petitions with the court, how that notification goes to the counties as well. And then I can report back.
All right, thank you.
Excuse me. Scott, I was told that there was someone in the wings, and of course, I don't remember the name of the person, from Kevin Green, the prosecutor, and he would keep me advised, but I haven't heard anything, and it's been a couple of months now, I think.
Did you have a name or no?
You know what? After this meeting, I can go back and get it for you.
Okay.
What is your, can you email me your direct phone, or we can just contact via, email?
Yeah, if I have a name, then I can follow up directly on that person to see where they're at, or I can reach out to Kevin, Attorney Green, to see if where they're at with that. I do know that he does do a fairly good job. He's one of the few prosecutors that reaches out to the counties to let them know that, hey, I've stipulated to an agreement with this person. So, he does have a good track record with that, but I can certainly follow up with them to see where we're at with that case.
Thank you. Sheriff, do you need to say anything, or is it all quiet?
Same.
Okay. Hans, I have a question. Once Mr. Polk is released, are you the probation officer assigned to him, since you've been on our 980 committee?
No, I'm a supervisor in the Oshkosh office, so likely it would be the reason I'm on this call is that if he's released, the whatever residence, if it's in Oshkosh area, he'll likely be on with one of my agents.
One of your what? Agents?
Agents, yes.
Oh. And I really typically don't deal with criminals. How many agents do you have in Oshkosh?
I have 6 in Oshkosh and 1 in Neenah, specifically to me. We have 20 agents in the Oshkosh office.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Scott, is there anything you need to tell us from your end?
No, I mean, I don't have any. This is my first meeting with this county. So, thank you for being patient with me as to just kind of learning the ropes here. But yeah, if there's information like this that you need me to follow up on, things behind the scene, just let me know, and
Thank you.
I'll do that and report back to the committee.
Can I ask a question? So Scott, it sounds like you've been with DHS for a while. Where have you been working?
So right now I'm kind of in a dual status role. I recently took on the program liaison position. So, it's kind of a statewide position that does a lot of community outreach. But also I have ties to the institution to make sure that individuals coming out from the institution, we have, good continuity of care between the institution and the community. But prior to that, I've been with DHS Supervised Release Program since 2011. And I've been in the same role as Angie and Mick. I'm a contract specialist, but I covered the Southwest region. My office was out of Dane County, and I covered basically the Southwest area of Wisconsin.
And so now you're taking over Northeast also?
Well, we've recently had a lot of turnover, so that Angie has left. Mick Chase recently resigned as well, so we're kind of in the process of hiring. We did bring in a new specialist who's been with us now for about 2.5 weeks. So she's trying to learn her area, which is kind of the southeast area we're covering for where Angie used to cover. So I volunteered to take the Winnebago committee in this area just because I have a lot of experience with the program.
Well, thank you.
Yes, no, not a problem. So I'll be with you as long as I can, but they are hiring for 2 additional specialist positions. So, sooner or later, a new face will probably rotate into this committee at some point. And then I'll be able to just step back and resume my liaison position.
Thanks. Captain Christie, can you think of anything, Todd?
No, I think we're just, we're planning for Pollack, and we're planning for the construction of the 980 structures out there, just northeast or northwest of us. That's really what we're doing on our end here.
Okay, great. All right. All right. So in terms of the next meeting, I think we should probably do something after the next court hearing. So maybe we should look at July, maybe early July. I don't know what looks good for people.
Would be a Monday morning?
It could be, or whatever it would
How
be.
about the Monday following the week of the 4th? What is that?
So the
Is it
10th?
10? The
I
10th?
won't be here then, but
Oh.
I don't need to be here necessarily.
Because if we get late, well.
What if we do the week before? What if we do, we're off the 3rd?
No, we're not off the 3rd.
Well,
A lot of people will
take
be.
I'm planning to take a
Yeah.
vacation from that.
No, that's fine.
Day before the 4th.
When is the hearing?
The 20th of June.
What about the 26th?
What, is that a Monday?
Mhm.
Yeah. Is that,
Yes, that'll work.
does the 26th work for Hans and Scott and Todd? June 26th.
I have a conflict in the morning.
The hearing is the 20th.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, what did they say?
Hans said he has a conflict.
In the morning or in the whole?
In the morning. So I'd be available in the afternoon.
That'd be fine with me.
We've only got a management team meeting.
Okay, so we could do it in the
1
afternoon.
o'clock?
1 o'clock, does that look good? June 26th?
I can make that work.
Great.
Works for me as well.
Great. Okay. Todd said he could do it?
Mhm.
Okay. Sure, can you? Todd said. Okay. And I am assuming what we'll talk about at the next meeting is basically where things are standing, how we're continuing to move along. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. So we are adjourned until June 26th at 1 p.m. We will send the appropriate Zoom links. And thank you all for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Close out.